How's it going, guys? Welcome to my first Deadlock replay review. So I was on Reddit this morning and I noticed that there was a post by Terrible Respond 9955 that they had received the lowest rank of Initiate so far in Deadlock. There was a lot of interest in this, and I was very interested to see what these games might look like. And they were kind enough to put in the replay code so that we could take a look and kind of see what went well, what went poorly, and take a look at this game. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this goes. I'm going to look at this from the blue side. I have not watched this at all. I did a little bit of sound testing, but I didn't review it. I saw who won when I opened up the game, but that was like 15 minutes ago, so that's out of my brain. I have no idea who wins this. But I picked this. They put in a couple, 2 or 3 different replays. So this one was picked someone at random. It seemed like a somewhat close game. So I'm just going to kind of go through it, get my first impressions, see what's going on. Go through some of these characters and see how everyone's doing. This first wave of minions is really easy. The benchmark to see is they're worth 75 apiece, and there are 4 of them. So if you are getting all of your last hits and they're not denying any of them, you should be getting 300 souls. So this first wave comes in. I'm looking to see who has 300 souls, who is last hitting properly, who isn't. The reason I kind of came over here and saw this happening a little bit was I noticed that this Wraith had really low souls. Very good visual here. And I kind of wanted to figure out what was going on. So this is the first thing I do not like from this Wraith. So they did a bad job last hitting. You could see that early kind of in that fight, they were throwing cards at the Mo and Krill, which is like fine, but they're already, it's 1 minute, 30 seconds in the game and they're already behind on souls. Sure, they got low for Mo and Krill and that's tough, but personally in this situation, I would have rather seen them stay in lane and just try to play a little bit safer. Here, they're behind in souls. They're not behind an item yet, but you notice that they dove straight onto Mo and Krill when they need to be getting these minions. These charge attacks are okay. You'll see that when the minions, their health bar will light up. When it lights up, that means a light melee attack will kill them. So they're wasting a little bit of time. They're just charging heavy melee attacks. A good player could, they'll dodge into the minions as they're trying to charging the heavy melee, and then they'll parry. So they'll essentially parry for the minion, and that's a nasty situation. So the other thing here, and I don't know if I can see this, yeah, look at how much damage they're taking from the troopers. So yeah, Mo and Krill's shooting them. Mo and Krill's a big bully. This is probably a little bit of a tough lane. They've taken a lot of trooper damage here. Almost 33% of what they're taking was just because they're tanking these minions. You don't want to lose this Guardian, obviously, but you got to get your farm. It's way more important. They'll get the Guardian eventually. So I would rather see the Guardian tank those hits. Okay, here we see them, they buy Healing Right. Turn it on. That's fine. I don't like them coming out here. If I was Mo and Krill, I would be looking to deny this. It has a pretty distinct sound when it comes on. If he's looking as lane mate, he's gonna get the full heal out of this, but that was pretty aggressive. If you're using Healing Right, you should be staying back, stay behind cover, and just kind of wait for your last hits. We'll go over to the other solo lane here. So Abrams, this I immediately kind of dislike. They're holding out to so many souls here compared to okay, their lanes swapped up a little bit compared to this Dynamo. So right now he's about even with Dynamo, right? Maybe a little bit behind, but Dynamo has bought 3 items. So even though the numbers are similar, Dynamo was ahead by 1.5k. If Dynamo noticed that, I would have forced the fight really hard. I mean, there's a lot of stats just in these 3 items. That was a pretty dangerous situation. I don't care for this pushing of these minions like this. He's shooting He's shooting his gun. It's a shotgun. He doesn't... Okay. The fight right here. We'll get back to that. Totally fine, reasonable engage. I don't like engaging on top of the minions there. Again, the minions end up doing a lot of damage. He's taking a lot... Most of his damage... I guess not most, but he's taking a lot of damage from these troopers as well. It's very... This is slept on. A lot of people aren't realizing how much damage we're taking from troopers. It's a problem I have a lot. So... keep in, try not to fight on top of your enemy's minions. It can be a big deal. It's a lot of damage. But what I was saying is he's taking these shots here, and this is a perfect example. I'm gonna try not to go back very much because we got a lot of game to get through. But let's just go back a little bit here. So he's been shooting these minions at very far ranges with his shotguns, not just getting last hit. He's pushing. All right, fine, whatever. That's acceptable if he wants to push and that's what he thinks the best choice. We can talk about that separately. The problem is his ammo management is terrible here. Here's the spot. So he had 3 shots. He wastes 1 on that first minion, and then he has to reload when the last hit actually comes, and he misses that last hit. So don't just waste your shots pouring them into people just for no reason. I mean, pouring them into the minions for no reason just to get them a little bit low. If you're pushing really aggressively and you're trying to take the Guardian, cool, go for it. But the minions take a really long time to die, and they have this really long death animation. That was kind of a tough charge. They have this really long death animation, so especially with like shotguns, you only need to do the 1 damage when they're going through that animation. So wait, hold your shot, let them get low, and then take the shot. So we're playing really, really far up here as Geist, yeah. So this is a situation, we can pause and go back a little bit as well. So you're Geist, you have your ult, and you want to use it aggressively. That's fine, but don't put yourself in that bad situation just so you can ult. That's like a Geist trap. You should be fighting and taking the best fight you can, pretend like you don't have an ult, and then if you need it, you have it. But there's a lot of situations where you can just win the fight without having to use the ult, and then you have the ult for something else. But here, they run in, they're not using cover, they take a ton of damage, they let the Shiv jump on them. They take 2 melees, and then they go for the ult. Like, it was just a little wasteful. They should not have been that far up. So again here, same thing, right? So we had 13 shots, and we spent, I don't know, 7 of them killing that minion. Why are we killing the minion? You want to push? Okay, well, we could talk about that, but I don't know that this is a great position to push. Maybe you want to keep McGinnis off your tower, but you can just wait for the minions to fight each other. You don't have to waste your ammo. You can hold it. I see a lot of this, especially in lower level games, where people are just wasting their ammo shooting minions. Spend your ammo smartly. Why are you shooting the minions? That's a pretty tough spot. Looks like Geist is struggling a little bit here. So Shiv comes around the side, and maybe they push him with their lane mate. But you have to ask yourself, is this a fight you really want to be taking in the first place? Like, I don't know. They're both full health. So he hits a knife. They're both full health. And Haze comes over. So, like, as a 2v1, this is pretty nice. You could try for it. I mean, I don't think you're really going to chase and kill him here. But it's a 2v1. You have your ult up. It looks okay. But, she gets killed before she even gets a chance to use it. This Shiv is packing a lot of damage. She's full rage. So you really have to be careful here. And the idea is, what is Geist fighting for by standing it over here messing with him? What is she going to gain? I don't know, maybe if you think you can kill him, but Shiv's pretty fast. He's got that damage mitigation. I think I would have left that alone, gotten to the other side of the lane, where it would have been a little bit easier to fight him from a range you're more comfortable with. Geist has a much longer range gun than Shiv. Shiv has a shotgun. He took that fight on his terms. That was an excellent fight for Shiv, but Geist should not have been that close to him. You really have to think about not just, oh, there's an enemy here, I should fight him. It's, well, what enemy is it? Is he stronger than me? What kind of guns and abilities does he have? Is his ultimate up? Right now, I see that his ultimate's up. That was just not a great fight to take. That was very scary for a Geist. Even if she thinks, oh, I can just health swap and it won't be a big deal. Shiv is naturally looking for that execute, so you have to be really, really careful. So blue, we got Bebop and this Ivy, and they're really pushed up. And Shiv comes over for a gank after he gets a kill. Bebop goes, maybe he wants to get a stack. That seems okay. But Ivy is in here taking this fight way too long. To the point where Infernus comes over and this becomes a big fight. And here, Bebop dies too. So, this is a great lesson of, you know, when you see a fight happening. So here, Ivy is dead, basically. And Bebop's full health, and he's not in this fight at all. It can be really easy to think, oh, I want to, it's my teammate. I want to save my teammate and get in there and fight and do something. But Ivy's dead here. There's nothing Bebop can do. Maybe like some crazy hook does it, but this is like a super scary situation. Ivy's already dead. Bebop shouldn't go in here. Bebop should turn around and leave. But Ivy's already dead. All right, so now Ivy dies. He gets the bomb, but now Bebop's thrown his life away for an Ivy that he couldn't have saved in the first place. So this was a completely preventable death. Happens all the time. Really, you're not leaving your teammate out to dry there. Ivy went in and took a bad fight. It happens. We all take bad fights. It's not a big deal. But just because your teammate takes a bad fight doesn't mean you also have to randomly die for no reason. Back to our friend Wraith here. She's actually ahead of this Mo and Krill and runs them off. They're both down. This chase I don't like at all. Maybe you can kill this Mo and Krill, but she doesn't have cards. She doesn't have ult. Definitely at this point, the chase is crazy. But what's going on in this lane? Okay, well, Bebop came over to catch it, but look at all these minions. All this money here that this Bebop's going to get. So real quick for Bebop to come over here and get all this money, but what is Wraith doing? Why did Wraith come over here when Wraith should be protecting her lane, at least on a base level? If you have a lot of communication, sure, hey, I'm chasing into blue lane. Someone please grab purple or yellow, whatever it is. But really, I would have liked to see Wraith go back there and get all those minions. I mean, that's her farm. That's how you get strong. I find that a good base level for a pub game is just whatever lane you're in, try to be responsible for those buildings and those minions. Just really easily. Sure, sometimes it makes sense to go over to another lane gank. Sure, someone should come over to your lane and clear all these minions. But it's just a nice, easy base level. You can just worry about your lanes and your buildings and make sure that those are always pushed back. Give yourself that responsibility. And if every player on your team does that, you'll have a lot better time not losing minions randomly to building, or losing buildings randomly to minions and losing all this farm. Okay, Haze, farming. So, one note here. This is currently the 10 minutes into the game. So, one important thing that happens at 10 minutes is the way that minion souls are given changes. So, pre-10 minutes, and I'm just going to use an example number. Let's say a minion gives 100 souls. When that minion is last hit, let's say you last hit a minion. You and anyone else in the lane will get half of the souls total for that minion. So 50 in this case. So you'll get 50 and your teammate, let's say Geist, will get 50. Then the soul orb comes out. When that pops or someone confirms it, you will get the other half of the souls. So Haze will get 50 and anyone else in the lane will receive half of it. So Geist will get 50. Great. 100 souls, they both get 100 souls. Really, it's 200 souls. Excellent. So after 10 minutes, that changes. First, the last hit for the minion doesn't award anything. No souls. All the souls are then contained in that little floating orb. But when that orb pops, now let's say the minion's worth 100 orbs and 100 souls total, instead of Wraith getting, Geist getting 100 and Haze getting 100, they have to split what that minion is worth. So they would both get 50. So instead of that minion being worth a total of 200 souls for the two people, 100 for each in lane, it's only going to be worth 100 souls, the base amount, but it's split between both people in lane. The most important thing to take from this is before 10 minutes, 2 people in a lane is good. They both get full souls. After 10 minutes, if you have 2 people in a lane, if you don't have a good reason for it, you're pushing a structure. So like, let's say this Bebop and this Ivy, they're pushing a structure. They're trying to get some damage. Great. Awesome. There's a reason. But here with this Haze and this Geist, they are both getting half the farm they could be getting. So I would rather see one of these people go and do a camp, go gank, find an objective to push, find something to defend. Okay, so here, looks like Abram's getting pushed. Haze comes over and finds Shiv doing a camp. And starts to fight this Shiv. Which, it seems like this wasn't their plan in the beginning. But my guess is that they see this Abrams, and this Abrams is struggling. And he's in a 2v1 here. Looks like the structure is still there. So this Abrams needs help. And Haze is gonna, okay, I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna gank. Great. And this Geist is like, hey, all my Haze is moving over. I'm gonna follow them. Cool. First, I think that's a little bit of an overcommitment. I would like to see one of the 2 stay here, continue farming, and contest this McGinnis. Make sure that she can't push and take their Guardian. And second, I think that just one of them, one person plus Abrams plus the Guardian, can probably defend against these 2 characters. More or less, if everything's even. So I think this is an overcommitment in the first case. The second thing is that McGinnis sees them do this. If we go over to McGinnis's viewpoint, she sees them come over here. So this isn't very sneaky. You're just showing the opponent, hey, I'm moving over there. So you have to already think, McGinnis saw me, McGinnis might follow. That's already adding a layer of danger. And then they see this, the Shiv here. And, oh, the plan changes. I see Shiv. I'm going to kill him. All right, first off, Shiv, at this point in the game, he's getting pretty strong. This is where he starts to get a little bit stronger, about the 10-minute mark. He's a little weak before that, in my opinion. Haze is definitely not at her strong point. She's extremely weak here. Maybe she's looking to ult, but this is not a good spot for her. And she sees this Shiv and decides she's going to fight him. She's 1k souls behind him, and this can be a lot to look at in the moment, but she's 1k souls behind him, so she's already a disadvantaged fight. Sure, he's fighting a camp, but he hasn't really lost any health off of it. And her original plan of my Abrams in my building need help has gone out the window. She's no longer helping Abrams. He is gonna, whatever he does. She takes this fight, and sure, maybe if it was her and just the Shiv, it would have been a better fight, but McGinnis saw him come over there. So when you make these rotations, you can't just think, oh, I'm going to rotate and this is my one plan. All right, well, first thing is the plan changed immediately, which, you know, wasn't great, but it can happen sometimes. But if you're going to rotate, don't rotate so blatantly with another character near you, because suddenly, even if that, in another world where that Haze makes it over here, McGinnis would have made it over here too. We saw McGinnis follow her. So instead of it being a 2v2 and this being a good situation on 2 characters who are, you know, overcommitted on a building, it's now a 3v2 and you're in a scary spot again. So be really careful with how your enemies see you rotate. And then, you know, just because something changes, you know, you had a plan to come protect this building and you see a Shiv and you think, oh, well, now I'm going to fight the Shiv. Okay. Really think about that. Don't just make that as a decision. You see Shiv, you have to fight him. If she would have left that Shiv alone, she probably would have been okay. We'll come over by this Abrams and see how he's doing against this push. It looks like he's doing okay. He's doing pretty good on farm. This Mo and Krill is very, very behind. They took their Guardian, and I see this a lot too. People will take the Guardian in their lane, and then they'll just leave. They're like, I did it. I won lane. All right, well, no, he didn't win lane. Sure, he took his Guardian early, but look at how many souls he has. He came over here. He tried to take a building he couldn't take. He's running Urn, which is great, but he doesn't have any plan for this Urn. So this is a great lesson too. Okay, Mo and Krill sees the Urn. Cool. I'm going to take the Urn. I have nothing better to do. All right, well, first off, his lane has been pushed pretty desperately in. Mo and Krill should have been covering this. There's a lot of things going on the map. Whatever. He decides he's going to run the urn. Great. So this is a terrible position to run the urn. First off, when I run the urn, I want this lane where the urn turn-in is, doesn't matter what side, I want it to be pushed past. Because what this means here is that any blue players that see this can immediately take the line and come zipping in. So first mistake is don't deliver the urn unless you have this lane pushed. Second off, he told his team, hey, help me deliver the urn. That's great, but you can't just say, help me deliver the urn, and then assume it's magically going to happen. If you say it, you need to look for proof that it's going to happen. Infernus is here, but he looks like he's clearing a minion wave. Seven is here, and he might be pushing it up, but you don't know where anyone on their team is. This is from the yellow perspective. You don't know where any blue players are here. This is insanely scary. Having not watched this, I assume he's going to try to slam dunk this and probably die for it. So let's see what happens. In this situation, you grab the urn. You don't really know what's going on here. I would just hold it. I would stay back, maybe try to punch one of these camps up. You can drop it and clear a camp. But he's just going to YOLO it and run in here. He gets lifted, drops the urn. And this is a scary situation. Yeah, it looks like he's going to die here. Probably. That was a lot of punches. And now we're in an all-out brawl over this urn. I would have liked to see way more players from both teams here. Specifically, well, I don't think yellow should have run this urn at this point. They are very pushed in all their lanes. They need to push everything back before they can start worrying about urn as an objective. Blue team did a great job. They pushed all their lanes. They see the enemy running the urn. They should be trying to cover it and being a little bit more aggressive about it, which looks like it is happening a little bit. Wraith here secured the urn. Very excellent from the Wraith. Ivy came for the urn too. This was very, very good response on the blue. This is exactly what I would have wanted to see. That there was a response to this urn run. Specifically because they already had all their lanes pushed. They didn't lose anything for this. A lot of times you'll see a team run the urn and then they lose 2 walkers. They lose a guardian for it, and it just makes it less good of a play. Ideally, when that 10-minute drops, if you're playing with a good coordinated team, before 10 minutes, you say, hey, Urn's going to spawn in 30 seconds. Can we run the urn? I want to run the urn. Start pushing that lane. You want to do it beforehand and really have a plan for when that happens. It's a very, very important objective. So we see a fight break out here that I don't care for at all. This Bebop's feeling pretty big and strong would be my guess, based on how he's 3-2, so he's doing okay. He's running behind on souls on his team, and that's not surprising. What we see here is, in my opinion, a Bebop wasting his time. So what are they doing here? What are they trying to accomplish? Well, I guess the closest thing that they could be doing would be taking these tier 3 guardians. Well, backup showed up. You know, there's people in this lane. You're not going to take them. Okay. Well, now you're really deep in enemy territory. They can come back really fast. You don't see hardly any of them on the map, and he hooks and tries to pick a fight. This isn't a fight you want to be taking. You're on the enemy territory, and you're not fighting over anything. Let's say Bebop gets a kill. All right, what do you win off that kill? Nothing. You don't win a camp. You don't win urn. You don't win a structure. He's not winning anything. What if Bebop dies? I guess it also doesn't really matter, but you're losing farm time for dying like that, especially when you're so deep on your opponent's side of the map. So I would rather see Bebop. Look at how many camps are back here. How fast he can farm these. You put a bomb on yourself. You run into the camp. Easy money. Or we still have a guardian over here on yellow lane. Go take the guardian. Go match up with some of your teammates and go take the structure. Start pushing and getting things done. Right now they're just pushing a lane for no reason. It's a lot of wasted time. You're not farming very many souls when you do this. And now he's in a scary spot. Looks like he's gonna get away, but once again, Ivy gets caught and he's like, I'm gonna save my friend. We'll see. They might make it away from this, but I really did not like that situation to turn back. Looks like he didn't even save Ivy anyway. Ivy died. So And now Bebop dies. This is the same exact thing that happened around middle, kind of the lower middle area, where Bebop saw a teammate in trouble. That Ivy did not leave when they should have left. They were too overextended. So Bebop leaves. He's free. He's on the zipline. He's out of there. But, uh-oh, my friend's in trouble. So instead of just letting Ivy die, he decided to turn around, lose his life, to not even save her. He didn't even save her. Okay, so Geist is being pushed here in her lane, and I think she still has the Guardian based on this little guy up here. So she's getting pushed, and she still has the Guardian, and it's a 2v1. This is probably a little scary. I would maybe back up. She's ahead of the McGinnis, but McGinnis early is really strong, and she's not ahead of the Shiv. So the first thing I would do would be I would get out. Just give them the structure. Hayes is coming. Back up. If you want to take this fight and you want to take the 2v2, take it at full health as a team. But she ends up dueling the Shiv, and again, she gets a little bit too close. So here, she takes some damage, she leaves. At this point, I'm not shooting anymore. I'm running. I gotta get out of here. I'm way too low. This is too scary. Starts running, that's great. Gets double ulted. These things happen. Alright, here we are from Hayes' perspective. Geist is fighting. Hayes is coming to support her. She jumps off the line early to go invisible. That's an okay decision. Her friend's in pretty big trouble, but... So this I don't like a lot from the Hayes' perspective. And I see this, this pretty common Hayes problem at a low level. There was no reason to sleep knife her there. She was already walking in. She's going to be able to get really close to her. Save the sleep knife for later, for when you need it. She was already next to her. It's not like she was going to, you know, she slept her and then immediately started ulting. If she starts ulting, you get the same outcome. You'd already have the McGinnis dead. So she could have a sleep knife here that she doesn't have. The cooldowns show it pretty poorly. And then dies to the Shiv for it. So if she would have saved that sleep knife, she probably would have been able to live through the Shiv. But also way too greedy. She used her ult, she got the kill, she doesn't have any cooldowns anymore. She used her Invis, she used her knife, she used her ult, and then she's decides she's going to go fight Shiv anyway. She didn't need to do that. She didn't have to kill the Shiv there. Their tower was no longer in danger. She could have held it against them just fine. The McGinnis was the real threat to the tower. So, a little bit of an overextension there. It happens, but when you try to fight and kill someone, really think, what are we fighting for? Okay, the McGinnis was actively trying to take your Guardian. The Shiv wasn't... I mean, he was trying to be aggressive and look for a kill, but he wasn't pushing minions or anything. So, nothing really there. This I like. We're trying to push. We're trying to take this structure, push down this lane. I still see a lot of these camps haven't been taken, so right now there's a lull in action, and she's taking it to shoot at Mo and Krill. Okay, she could probably take this little side camp right here in 2 seconds. Mo and Krill goes for a grab on Abrams. Way too low for that kind of behavior. I mean, he's 7k to 15k. He was not killing that Abrams. And the person behind him, 11k, also pretty far behind, but also a support character. I mean, I don't expect you to look at what items your allies have at all times, but he spent a lot of money in the Fortitude category here. You know, good amount on Chemical Fire, but he's not a big damage dealer. You can't just Mo and Krill ult someone and think, ah, I have another teammate here. That's the for sure kill. Great. So just be really careful when you're going for that, you know, going for kills in that kind of situation. If the souls were different, or his teammate were different, if this Shiv was here, who's been doing a great job, I would have loved that grab, but it just wasn't the situation for it. So this is the same situation from the Abrams point of view. He's a little low on life. This is scary, but he's super fed, so he's not scared of it. I think Torment Pulse ends up getting most of the damage there. Gets a kill. Great. So now I want to see them push. I want them to take this Guardian because it's right here and there's only one person defending it. This Abram is enormous. Let's get in there and push him. Okay. He gets a little bit of defense here. The 7 comes to his aid. So now it's pretty even again. But we're still trying to push. This is a great decision. And he gets the stun on him. Runs back. Avoids stunning his Haze. Does a good job. pulls the sign for cover. Also fine. So he should, you know, what are we thinking here? Well, you really want to defend this Guardian. Ideally someone else comes, and Shiv comes to fight him. I do not like coming in here, into this little building. Hits an excellent parry. And yeah, just kind of gets ulted. These things happen. The biggest correction I would maybe make here, and the biggest spot where he, I believe, made a mistake that maybe could have prevented this death, is, so he's here at the shop. Maybe he's going to shop, you know, who knows. And he sees this, this Shiv, and decides, I'm going to shoulder charge him. Okay, fine. You shoulder charge him, get CC. But instead of going back to where his teammate is, you know, Hayes is back on that structure. Also, sure, the structure isn't the strongest thing in the world, but the melee from it, providing that little stun, it can be quite a bit. It's a good amount of support. So, but instead of retreating to safety, he thinks, I'm already running this way, let's keep running this way. And that gets him into pretty big trouble. The other thing is, I wish he would have just kept running. He hits this parry, but he knows that there were already 2 people in his lane. He already had a 7 there, and he already had a Dynamo there. So you don't really want to be taking fights unless you think that you can fight all of them. I'd expect someone else to show up. Hits this huge parry. Once they get his 2 heavy melees, that's great, but now everyone's here. He was so big, he probably could have just ran out of that. Maybe the best, you know, the second spot there that he could have tried to survive from it would be hit that parry and then just leave, get out of there. He was pretty tanky. He probably could have made it. Okay, so Ivy buys here speed boosts into lane. Tries to defend this structure. I don't like this off rip. So we just saw that they had at least 5 people. I saw it in the mini-map seconds ago, but they actually have all 6 people over here. But they have at least 5, and Ivy sees this. This Guardian's dead. There's nothing you can do at that point. It's already so low. Your Abrams just died here. He's your biggest player, and your second biggest player, Wraith, is over here in this lane doing I don't know what exactly. So this is already a tough spot. If you want to come here and defend the Walker, that's great, but it's okay to give up that Guardian. So she comes in and she starts machine gunning Mo and Krill. A kill that she's probably not going to get. He's pretty big and tanky. But starts fighting them, and oh no, now there's 5 people here. Gets away and still has a pretty good amount of her health. But now is trying, instead of just running away and accepting, okay, we lost this fight, let's not lose my life, she turns around and starts fighting. She's looking for trouble. Why are you looking for trouble here? Just because you think you can dance on the rope and be better than them? Always assume that your opponent is a good player and is going to make good decisions. Think, all right, I'm not going to lose them here. You know, they'll catch my shenanigans. This Ivy's got some pretty good movement, but, you know, it's a lot of movement to try to win a 1v1 against a character who's great at 1v1s. This, let's see, this Ivy, a lot of spirit items, looks like a kudzu bomb build, which is great, but you're not a 1v1 fight character. If you can get in a little room and fight him, that's fine. That could be really good, but, you know, well, it was very aggressive. All right, what in the world is happening here? How did this happen? So I'm back at a little bit of a real-life intermission, a little bit different lighting. Picking right back up where we left off, though. Both teams have committed a lot over here, and this is where I think Wraith makes a really, really good decision. They know where most of the players on this team is, and I think this is a big overcommitment for this Guardian. Just because there's a fight and there's a team fight doesn't mean everyone needs to be there. Case in point, a single player coming back for this purple lane would be huge. Ideally McGinnis, she kind of defends the best. But you can see that they commit every single player here. McGinnis dies, which is kind of sad. But, like, look, this 7 is back in here. He doesn't even need to be part of this fight. We know where all the players are on the blue team. And we're just letting Wraith come up here. And she does an excellent job. This is a very, very good push on her part. Just come here, push these 2 lanes. And I see a lot of times where, you know, like this Hayes player, for example, could end up getting upset and be like, hey, where was the team? Why wasn't the team here? We have 5 people over in the yellow lane. It's like, well, you know, Wraith coming to that fight wasn't gonna fix it. That was a nightmare of a fight for the blue team, and so it makes way more sense for Wraith to come over here and take this. This is an excellent play by Wraith. Another thing to shout out here is Infernus runs the urn. Kind of ridiculous. Again, blue team is super pushed out. Scary way to run that urn. And again, we have 5 players here fighting for what? Their shrines are being taken for free, and they're fighting over this guardian for no reason. So this was a huge mistake. They really needed more people to come back here. I don't think they needed all 5 players to take this guardian, and even if they did, this is crazy. This is not a very good flank by 7. He does get a kill for it, which is incredible, but this is way aggressive for what was needed here. Just trying to break this up and get this guardian. So here, great moment. We have McGinnis, you know, pushing this guardian, doing a great job. These cooldowns, you know, they look accurate. Yeah, so she stays in this fight. She has the stamina, and she just wants to fight this Abrams. But this Abrams is huge at this point. I mean, when you're taking these fights, and I like to say, you know, every time I die or so, I look at my farm and I look at the farm on the enemy team, and I go, okay, who can I fight? Who can I reasonably 1v1? So let's say I'm this Infernus here. I'm gonna look at their team and I go, okay, I think I could fight everyone except Abrams. Abrams is a little bit more fed than me. It would be pretty close. He's a pretty good 1v1 character as well. So, but I would look and I'd say, okay, maybe Abrams is a little scary, maybe Wraith is a little scary. Everyone else I could fight. So let's take a look at this fight up here. This is a big thing you'll see a lot as well. These people are going to die, and they'll say, hey, where was my team? Why wasn't my team up here? Okay, so maybe there's a world where everyone should be here, and this is a huge team fight, and every person should be here. But that's not what happened. At this point, Abrams and Bebop should look at their map and see, okay, Hayes is back buying, Wraith and Geist are hanging out in lane together, both defending it. They should get out of here. Sure, your teammates, maybe they should be here and they should be part of this fight, but it's also personally on you as a player to look at the map and go, okay, I think this is a fight we should all be a part of, but my teammates didn't agree, so I should just back out. I don't need to die. What should probably be happening here is Abrams and Bebop don't need to be here. They could be in this lane over here on the side. This is, I mean, super pushed up by minions. Depending on their build, maybe Abrams could take it. There's also this lane over here that's getting pushed in. So this walker's about to start taking damage. I'd like to see someone catch this. So, yeah, I like that Hayes doesn't come in and join this. This is really easy to see a bunch of players come in here and die for nothing because these players are deciding to take a fight that they shouldn't be in. I mean, this is... They're already dead. Hayes coming here isn't going to save them. Wraith comes here, pushes up this lane. I like this. When you're pushing up a lane, don't just, you know, look at your opponents. See, can I push up this lane one more? If you can get one more wave up there, that's excellent. This is scary. This I don't like so much. So she takes that camp. Okay, I know where all those players are. They just killed Abrams. Doing this, yeah, you see, doing that Sinner Sacrifice, it takes a long time and it's really, really loud. So maybe she doesn't die here. Maybe she gets away, but Hayes definitely died for it. That was a little too greedy. You want to take those minions real quick? I love it. That's great. Deny the enemy farm, but she overstayed a little bit. Don't think you have to get every little thing, especially when you're taking camps. Reevaluate. Take a couple minions. Think, should I still be here? Should I still be doing this? So we have Bebop split pushing this lane here. That's not so bad. It's probably at parity with Shiv, but I would like to see that someone go and stop Shiv. Here, this is a situation I see a lot as well. What are we fighting over? Why are we fighting in this case? Who's winning an objective either way? Well, if it was blue team, I would like to fight them under the walker, because then the walker can help you fight. Okay, What is the yellow team doing? Well, Shiv was pushing over here, which was great. If he was doing a split push and they were they pulled up here to kind of give them a choice, and they were facilitating Shiv, I love it. But they're not. They almost lost this left lane over here because they decided they want to go and play team deathmatch. A bunch of people died, and what happened? Nothing. The game is the same as it was before that fight. So what are we fighting over? When you're fighting, for any reason, at any time, think, what are we fighting over? Why are we participating in this fight? Should I leave? Should I continue fighting? Be careful that if 5 of your teammates are deciding that a fight is worth taking, sometimes you're better off being there and just fighting with them to fight with them, even if it's kind of scary. So here we're running Urn again. Not a big fan of that. Remember, as I said earlier, if I'm running Urn, I want to have this lane all the way pushed up. So they don't have that. Dynamo's babysitting this Urn, making this really hard. Very good ult, but there's no one here to do damage on it, so kind of sad. And while they're fighting over here, they lost their left walker. You know, they got a kill. They killed the Wraith, but they already lost this left walker over here. So this was an excellent fight for blue. They had a couple players. They traded for the walker. Awesome. And then they're going to successfully defend this Urn. They might even get a free Urn for it. We'll see, but the Urn is super important and very, very strong if you can get it consistently. But it's very dangerous as well. You want to make sure that you're not running the Urn for the enemy, which is what happens here. He ran the Urn. They're just going to pick it up and slam it because they have control over this whole area. Don't run the Urn if you don't have control or you're not planning to get control. This is pretty pushed up here. They back off. Be really careful when you're pushing up this far. If you have a team and you have a plan, you say, hey, let's 3 of us, we'll go push this lane, see what we can do. Great. But if you don't just push it all the way. I mean, that's really scary. You don't know where any of them are. 6 people jump on you, even if you're a team of 3, and it's a really scary spot. Everything's getting pushed out here. A lot of people spend time at base. Hayes running around farming. I don't mind this so much. I would like her to grab this wave right here. We'll see if this happens. Getting a little distracted by this inner sacrifice. Wraith comes over here and picks it up. So not a huge deal. And again, it looks like we're having another fight over here. Let's back up a little bit and see what happened. So how does this kind of bad fight happen? So they both want to push this wave, and they're both middle. And Abrams decide, I'm the biggest man in the world, I'm going to fight this. Well, that would be true if maybe you were on your side of the map or you knew where all your enemies were, but he's not bigger than their whole team. So Shiv shows up, and it's a 3v2, and this is a nightmare. Abrams looks like he's going to get away from this. Wow. Incredible. I would have definitely liked to see Shiv stay. So Shiv over chases here like crazy. Tries to backdoor the walker. Just makes a mistake. It's kind of tough. But the thing is here is they had this huge, awesome, great fight. They have this fight. The team is overextended. One person dies. Abram gets sent packing. But then they can't take this walker because Shiv leaves. So Shiv leaves. They're not fighting just Bebop alone. And they can't make anything happen. So huge misplay by Shiv here. I think they should have been able to take this walker. Or if not, they're making space for this Infernus. They could have made space for this Infernus to take this walker. We'll see where our Sapphire players here. Little scary situation from Infernus here. At this point, he's probably accepting that he's trading his life for it. That's fine. But just think of how different this situation would be if you had the rest of your team pushing the second walker. This would have been so good. We had another situation here. Oh, wow. Turns it around. Dies. So gets the kill. But now 7's in here. 7 was never saving Infernus. Infernus got a kill. Great. He traded his life. He got a walker. Awesome play by Infernus. What is 7 doing now? He goes to a fight that Infernus was dead. I mean, they chased him all the way from Walker. And so Infernus shows up, does nothing, and then walks away. Would have been much better off. Push back this right lane is in trouble. Hell, I would have rather him do camps at that point. So at this point, this Abrams is getting pretty belligerent. He was really far ahead for a long time. And you'll see this happen a lot. If you're a lower level player and you think, man, I'm always ahead on kills, I'm always ahead on souls, and yet my team keeps losing. Likely you're doing what this Abrams is doing. He was huge. He was the biggest man in the lobby for a while, but now he's just not. But he's fighting as though he is. I mean, look, Shiv's more farm than him, Infernus is more farm than him, Seven is more farm than him. He can't fight the same way that he used to. So you just gotta be really careful that when you're super far ahead, be careful that you're not just, you know, reevaluate how far ahead you are, because you don't keep your lead forever. A really good ult by Haze. You see that a lot in these lower level lobbies. A really good Haze tip is, especially something like that. She gets a couple kills or a kill and an assist off an ult. I'm looking at Haze. I'm looking at her build. First thing I see is, okay, Haze doesn't have Unstoppable. She can be pulled out of that. Lots of different ways. McGinnis, Wall can stun. Dynamo ult can stun. Infernus ult can stun. So I know, okay, she doesn't have Unstoppable. We can stun her out of that. We can buy Knockdown and stun her out of it. But also, I would like to see the enemy team have Steel Skin. No one has Steel Skin. You're going to learn about an item against Haze. It's called Metal Skin. Every character can buy this. It's an active, so I know that's a little scary for some people, but you're going to learn to put it on a button and then hit that button. Become immune to bullets and melee attacks. This makes you immune to her ultimate ability. It's like a 4-second duration, plus or minus, depending on your build. So what you do is, she ults, you hit Metal Skin, roll jump away, and then you're out. And that's it. You did it. You defeated her ultimate ability. If everyone on your team has it, or everyone who's within the ultimate, and they all hit it, you can just stand there and kill her. It'll only take 3 seconds. The danger with this is, if you hit your Metal Skin, you go, this is great. I'm going to kill Haze. I'm going to be the guy. If anyone else is within her ultimate range, and they don't have Metal Skin, and she has any amount of lifesteal, but she's got 28% here, you're not going to be able to kill her. Everyone on the team, or everyone inside the ult, needs to have the Metal Skin, or you're not going to kill her. So be very careful about that. But everyone on their enemy team, after she goes, she's 8-3, she gets a couple kills with her ult, she's a problem. I want to see Metal Skin out of all these players, and I probably want to see Curse out of a couple other ones. Silence is a similar thing. Curse is a little bit, I mean, it's the more expensive option, but Curse is an enemy. Interrupting, silencing, disarming, preventing item use. You curse Haze, she can't ult. Same thing with Silence. You silence her, she can't ult. So if you're one of these big initiator types, Moen Curl's pretty far behind. That's probably a pretty tough buy for him. But Shiv is super far ahead. He's huge. He's buying these tier 4 items. He has a free slot here. He should be buying this Curse, this Silence. He should be stopping the best player on their team. Look at who the problem child is. Right now it's this Haze, and I want to stop her. I'm buying Curse. I know it's fun to buy these huge Leech and Colossus, and I'm unkillable, but you know, Return Fire is actually really good against Haze, but you know, she's a problem, and try to build around her and think about the other players in the game. So they got a good push going, and I actually like this Urn run. This is really good. They have a lot of pressure. They're making space for him. The important thing here is that you don't want to overextend. So Haze and Wraith, excellent. They do exactly what they want to do here. They're making space. They're doing these camps, but they're keeping this area for Abrams. You know, Geist and Ivy, they pull back. They did their job. We're running the Urn. The Urn is the objective here. It's not kills. It's not these Guardians. It's the Urn. And what does Bebop do? He's running in. He's going for kills. So he might get something here. 2 big bombs, but he's dead. So be really, really careful. If you want to go in for a kill, your first, you know, the first thing you should do is look at your map. Be like, is my team with me? Is this a good fight? It was not a good fight for me. Went in a little too crazy. So Wraith, again, doing very excellent. You can see she's doing really good on farm, even after she she struggled a little bit early because she's doing a really good job pushing these lanes and keeping this lane pushed up. She's kept this lane pushed up all game. She took the shrine one time, but she's constantly returning here, pushing the lane. This is very, very good play from this Wraith. I would be happy to have her on my team as, you know, as far as random teammates go. She's doing a good job pushing, and you like to see that. Would have liked to see someone come over here sooner to stop this, but this is great. Not even a huge overcommitment here. I don't mind 4 people coming over to fight this this Shiv, because it's on your side of the map and everything else is already pushed out. So that wasn't too bad.
I'm not getting caught.
What I would like to see here is toxic bullets or heal bane. Okay, so the reason that Shiv was so unkillable is no one has toxic bullets. We'll do another little stop here. I have another video about this. I have a video for situational items. If any of these items are new to you, check out that video. Very helpful. So, toxic bullets. We're going to skip a lot of the stuff. Minus 65% healing reduction. The other really good item that does that. Heal Bane. Very cheap. This is on spirit damage. 40% healing reduction. This Shiv, if you look at his items, he has Leech. This is a core item for Shiv. It makes him super, super, super tanky. He's got a ton of lifesteal. No one on the enemy team has anti-lifesteal. So 4 people were on him, and they had a hard time killing him. The best time to think about this is, you know, when you're back at base 5 minutes ago. You look and you go, oh, shit, Shiv has Leech. I should buy anti-lifesteal. The second best time to think about it is when you fight Shiv, and then you think, wow, he was really hard to kill. Why is that? Instead of just, you know, not thinking about it, think about it. Every fight can be a little bit more intel, a little bit more information. So these big camps, if you can do them, you want to do them as soon as possible. They're worth a ton of souls, and you can tell this Abram has a pretty good idea of what's going on because he's doing them. You want to be able to do them with some amount of speed. If you're doing them really slow, they're not worth it. So I would like to see their Haze can do them really fast. Their Ivy can actually do those camps pretty fast. I would like to see the other players on their team trying to take these big camps. That looked like Abrams was going to overextend there. Very proud of him for just ulting and backing off, even though he's got the ult and he wants to do it. And this might ultimately get them killed. They did chase that pretty far, even though he did try to whip around and leave. So, a bit too much of a push. But, once again, this Wraith isn't, participating in a million fights. We might look at the end of this game, and she might not have the most player damage, but look at her. She's huge farm. No one can 1v1 her at this point. I mean, 7 could come over here and give it a shot, but she's huge, and she's pushing. Sure, some of her teammates are dying, but they're not taking anything. So let's back up just a minute here to see once again kind of how this happens. They have this huge chase, 4 players. They kill Abrams. They kill Ivy. Awesome. So Wraith is back here, but 7 came up. We can do something about this. What happens? All right, well, McGinnis is going back. Why is McGinnis going back? Sure, she can defend against this Wraith, but they have a player here. Okay, and now Dynamo and Shiv are pushing this Walker, which is a great thing to push, but the minions aren't here. They don't have time to do this. And then separately, Infernus is here alone. So this isn't bad, but the problem is that they all decided to do something differently. When I played a lot of Heroes of the Storm, there's this idea that doing the best thing is great. This Infernus, I think he's doing the best thing right now. I think this shrine is very takeable. But if you're doing the best thing alone, it's no longer the best thing. His 2 teammates peeled off over here to try to take this Walker, and then McGinnis left him. So instead of doing the best thing alone, it's better to make a bad decision with the team sometimes. So do I think they could get the shrine here and, get the flex slot, open up this lane quite a bit, defend it against their open lane? Yeah, that's what I think should have happened here. But his 2 teammates left, well, 3 teammates, but his 2 teammates wanted to take this Walker. he's probably just better off going, taking the walker and getting something rather than what I think is going to happen, where I don't think he's going to get anything here. He's going to try his damnedest. We'll take a look. We'll check out the Sapphire team. So he's going to get these 2 Guardians. We'll see. We definitely need to back up here. Death timers are messed up a little bit in Spectator. So yeah, he sees that the Abrams and Ivy came up and they just pull back. So they didn't really get anything. Pretty sad. When you have dead teammates like this is a defensive moment. There's no reason for Bebop and Abrams and all of them to be out here because they don't have their whole team. Their whole team's going to end up coming, and this fight drags on, looks like. But this is really, really aggressive and would be punished in, lobbies where the players are a little bit more aware. This McGinnis is split pushing here. I don't know about all this, guys. So right now, this is team deathmatch. We're playing team deathmatch over here. Nothing is happening. We're just having this long, drawn-out fight over nothing. And then Abrams comes back here to defend. So this game has been pretty even, basically the whole time. We're gonna pause right here really quick. This game's been very even most of the time. A lot of the higher level players will say that games shouldn't be going on this long. People say, oh, I had an hour-long game, and look how much damage, look how much farm I had. Games shouldn't be going on this long. The reason that this game is going on this long is because both teams are kind of doing nothing. They're fighting over nothing. They're doing a bad job pushing together. It's bad teamwork, which is pretty typical, especially because ranked is solo. So you're in there with 5 strangers, and you're just hoping everyone uses their mic. But I imagine kind of the rest of this game, we're going to see a lot of this kind of like just team deathmatch, where everyone's just fighting. Again, Wraith, we have her pushing up this side, great. And we're running Urn. There comes a point where Urn kind of doesn't matter as much. So this game, if it's dead even, okay, I like this. Run the Urn. Get more ahead, try to make something happen. But excellent kill by Wraith. This can be another situation where I'm Wraith, I look at the enemy team and I go, okay, who can fight me? Right now, Infernus can fight her, Seven can fight her, maybe Shiv, because Shiv is a pretty good 1v1 character, but Mo and Krill, he's unfortunately with how much farm he has, he's not a player anymore. He's not a contender in this game because he hasn't farmed enough. So let's say you're this Mo and Krill, you are super behind. What do I want to see Mo and Krill do here? Well, we'll see when he comes up. We'll follow him a little bit. I want Mo and Krill to defend lanes. If you are the lowest souls on your team, by a lot, so he's pretty far behind the other characters, you can determine, okay, well, do I have an ability that matters? Can I still help the team fight? And Mo and Krill's a great character to fight from behind. He has Sandblast. He can blind. Doesn't matter how behind you are if you're blinding people. He's also got his combo ult, which is harder to use if you're behind, but still totally usable. Infernus sees he's the biggest man, is trying to fight alone up here. But the thing I want to see Mo and Krill do is I want to see him defending lanes. I want him to stay back, push back lanes. Infernus dies fighting by himself, and trying to not stay out of fights, but he doesn't need to be fighting. Like, he could have cleared those minions back there and kind of ran forward. He's trying to make something happen. But right now, this Wraith is pushing. I would rather see him push against Wraith. Come back here. He can at least fight the minions against her, or at least come back here, do this camp, and then if she shows up, back up further, do your best to blind her, take care of the minions. But you can do camps and kind of hang out. I think that Shiv and Dynamo would have gotten that walker without him there. And now, who's defending this Wraith? We have the same problem, where he didn't do anything in those fights. I mean, he's using his abilities, and maybe the blind, the disarm did something. But why did we let Wraith push in so far here? Now he's back here defending. Wraith pushed up the second wave. She's being a nightmare, and she's huge. I don't expect Mo and Krill to fight her. that's ridiculous. I don't think anyone on their team can 1v1 her very well. She's pretty good in that duel situation. But this Moen Krill could be doing so much for his team if he's clearing this wave, come over here, clear this wave, and it allows the rest of his team to stay up there and fight. I don't want this Infernus clearing waves. He's kind of, you know, running in, Ramboing a little bit. He really needs to team up. But I don't want him coming back here and clearing a wave. I don't want him to have to come back here and clear this wave. So if you're farther behind, you should be clearing waves. Clear waves. Do these back camps. Become a contender. Moen Krill. Okay, so he sees this urn here. What is he gonna do? He can't do anything. So he makes a very good choice here. Back up. Let him have it. It is what it is. I don't think that was a good urn run by blue, but so be it. We need to establish some sort of big push here. Get most of our members going down one lane and trying to make a fight. The blue team, I don't know if they could win an all-out brawl really well, but it would be really nice to get... This is great. Get 4 of them, push a lane, see if you can do something, keep a couple players on the other side, and attack from 2 different fronts. What you see a lot, and a lot of players, you know, will be upset, like, oh, we never fight as 6 people. Oh, why aren't we ever having a team fight? The map is so big, and things happen so fast, that it's really hard to have all 6 players team up for one big fight all the time if they can have someone split pushing. If you have 6 people, you better be doing something right now. There's something big, something impactful, something they can't ignore. But this I like a lot more. Wraith is here split pushing. Probably wouldn't like her split pushing as much, but if all 4 of these blue players team up here, they could have had, you know, they could have something, and maybe that's what this ends up turning into. Yeah, another scrap. I think this could have been a good fight for blue, and you know, honestly, it still probably is. It's a 2-for-2 trade. We're fighting here, but the yellow team, the amber team, they need to look at their base. They can't all be up here fighting. And if they are up here fighting, this is really when you need to use your microphone. Be like, hey, someone needs to go back defend. McGinnis, great. Why are we all coming back here? We have the player advantage, but now we're really overcommitting to this defense. You probably don't need all the players to kill this Wraith, and the Wraith is so slippery, she might not even die. She might get away here. So, what did we all come back for? Why are we all here? What are we doing? They had so many players down, and we knew Abrams was in the second lane and Wraith was in this first lane. If they would have kept a couple people, they could have taken this walker, no problem. Easy peasy. Seven's great at taking walkers, and Furnace is great at taking walkers. Instead, we just back up, we do some camps. Whenever there's a fight, you have to think the fight was bad for one team to take. One team was wrong in taking that fight. It's going to be advantageous for one of the 2 teams. That's just kind of the way it is. So it looks like Wraith is kind of retreating from here. Abrams retreated. Ivy is coming in. Ivy probably shouldn't be here. Either let Wraith escape on her own or let her die. I mean, it kind of is what it is. All 4 players came back. I think she would have been fine getting out of there. As we saw, she's going to stay and fight, of course. Abrams is gone. Excellent. But you know all 4 of those yellow players, they came back here. They're not on the map anymore. They're going to be here. This isn't a fight you want to take. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, is instead of just leaving, she has teleport. Just get out of there. Oh, I have ultimate. Oh, I'm going to lift. Let me kill this shit. And you see, this doesn't really go well. I mean, even blue has a pretty good push here. Losing this Wraith is so bad. She's so strong. So this, I don't think we should be fighting here on either team. I think this is a bad fight. But I think once you started losing a couple players, you should have just left. You should have backed up. Now we know all the blue teams back here. This is, again, team deathmatch. I wish Moen Krill was still over here pushing. I'll hit you with a prediction here. I've said that Moen Krill is super far behind. He's still very far behind. A good benchmark to shoot for would be 1k souls every minute. So a lot of these players are doing okay. I mean, obviously you can get much more than that, but it's a good spot to start. This Moenkrill's behind. He's really far behind. I would have liked him keep pushing here. Take bridge buff. Push this. He could get this Walker all by himself. But instead, I mean, we can look at where both... yeah, there's no one else on the map. Everyone's here. So come take this Walker. Instead, he comes in here to fight. But I don't think he's going to make a difference. I would be happy to be wrong here. He comes in. He gets the blind. Throws down an alchemical fire. Great ult. But, see, and it's not even like this was a bad chase. If he was more farmed, if he had a couple more good items, maybe he kills this Bebop. But he's so underfarmed that he just doesn't make a difference. Everything he does is just kind of mediocre. The best thing he did was ult, which is great. And I said he's good from behind when he can ult. But, I mean, that's McGinnis doing all the damage. And even she wasn't big enough to kill Bebop. So, just be really mindful when you go into these fights and you're looking for fights and what you should be doing on the map. It feels really bad to just leave your teammates to die, and it's not always the correct choice to leave them to die. You don't want to leave anyone to die, and people get upset. I get that, but this is not a fight where Moenkril can do anything. But he could take this Walker so easily. Even if he takes this Walker and then Lady Geist goes, ah, shit, I need to back. I need to go defend this Walker. You're pulling someone out of the fight just from pushing another lane. So you don't have to be in a fight to have an impact. So this fight was a huge mess. Looks like Yellow really overcommitted to that Wraith. That's kind of surprising. I thought she was going to die, and that would be the end of it. If you want to go for a chase like that, you know, it's context dependent. Sometimes it's great to chase, but you have to be really careful that you don't overextend, and then, you know, that good chase you had turns into a bad fight. Take the Wraith kill. Get the heck out of there. You don't need to overstay. And now we're going to do a boss. This I hate. This is... So, I'm not sure about the Deadlock community, but we always called this the throw pit, because this is where winning games go to die. Sure, they can burn it down fast. Their most farmed player is not here, so that's already tough. It's going to be a 5v6. Two of their opponent players are dead, but it's really scary. Your lanes are getting pushed in. This is a tough call. I would want this to be way more pushed, or have any more knowledge about what's going on, or have Wraith there. If Wraith's there, this feels like a way better fight. But I think it's kind of a little bit of a scary call. And we'll see. So at this point, they've heard the boss make his sound. And all four players are here. If this is a moment where if we have a mic on, say, hey, do we all want to fight this? It's a 4v5, but you have Dynamo, who's got a really excellent ultimate ability. Your most fed players here. You don't know where Wraith is, so maybe it's a 4v6. If you thought, okay, the game's over, let's just try it. Let's Hail Mary. I could see that, but it's got to be the whole team. What I anticipate is going to happen is Dynamo is going to jump in here, ult, and then die. They do a good job trying to push in together. We'll see what happens. Dynamo comes in, ult. He's got to ult now. He's got to ult way before that. So, yeah, and just like that, how this turns. That's the throw pit. I'm not sure exactly what... I mean, I'm not going to pick apart that fight to see exactly how it got turned, but they're all in that pit, and Seven comes up, and again, a Shiv starts running around in there. Look at how bad that fight was. You need to have... It's the same thing as the urn, where if you do it... If you do it at a bad time, it's really risky. Because they just did that, sure, they got the Rejuvenator, great. They're all dead. They're losing structures for this. That's a nightmare. You want to have an overwhelming advantage. It shouldn't be, I think we can do boss. It's, I know we can do boss, and there's nothing they can do about it. Because this is a nightmare. And then Wraith never showed up. So she's the most farm player on their team. I love that. Maybe she decided that's not a fight worth taking. But when your whole team, and we'll back up a little bit here. Oh, she does come in here. She comes in, she tries to help. She looks, she shoots a 7 a little bit, decides, all right. Actually gets, basically gets the kill on him. All right, I'm going to take it back. This Wraith did a great job. She showed up. She did some damage. She had as much of an impact as she could. And then when she couldn't, she's not going to fight all of them. There's no reason to go in there and just die. I think she did a great job. She showed up to that fight, did her best. Once the fight was lost, she didn't just run in trying to get another kill. Back up. Defend the base. She's having an impact here. She's slowing them down. Yeah, going back, reviewing the tapes, I think this Wraith is playing very well. She's doing a very good job keeping objectives in mind and fighting where it makes sense, pushing where it makes sense. And you can tell this is why she's the most farmed. Where she was in that fight, but before that she was pushing this right lane. She came back, she came to boss. So pretty reasonable job, and they end up turning this. So another thing, and this is kind of specific to this game that I don't feel like is the same in other MOBAs. So they get this huge, Yellow gets this huge fight. I'll just let it play out. Yellow gets this huge fight, kills basically all of them. But they have the Rejuvenator. So you can push, take this Walker, take a little bit, but don't overextend the situation. They all come back so fast because of the Rejuvenator. So don't get greedy. Take a couple things. Once they start coming back up, just back up. Keep your advantage, because now they're on the back foot again. Here's another situation. So we can look at everyone's farm. Infernus, 7. Huge. Should be able to win fights. Very strong. Just need to work together. Good job on this Bone Krill to pull back. Right now, all their lanes are being pushed. They need to push these out. Not everyone. McGinnis, push this out. Fight here. This is excellent. She can come back for it. But you really need to focus on pushing out these lanes instead of running in and trying to find a fight. And based on this this ending here, it looks like we're going to see the end of this. Whoa! So we get the Refresher ult from Dynamo. And this is another situation where an item could have helped here. So what happens to Wraith here? And this could have gone very differently if Dynamo had any help. Popped up and then ulted. Tails all this time. So if you're this right now, she's a hyper carry. She's carrying, whether you think she's carrying her team or not, she's very fed and she's a very important player right now on her team. And she's got a lot of money and a lot to, she's got a lot of money to spend. So I would like to see Unstoppable here. Amazing item, does a lot of things. The biggest thing is active become temporary suppress negative status effects, become immune to stun, silence, sleep, root, disarm. So you can't use it while stunned or slept. But for her, with her increased duration, it's lasting 7.5 seconds. So it's really easy to just, instead of buying, look, she's bought damage, glass cannon, titanic mag, she's got all this damage. I would have liked to see her pick up Unstoppable, so when this Dynamo comes in, and the second you see Dynamo, boom, hit it. This is no longer an issue. They end up winning here, but anyone else is here to try to fight her and kill her. She goes Unstoppable, she kills Dynamo, she wins the game. But that's not what happens. She gets ulted. And she lives from this, but as we know, because we just watched, Dynamo has Refresher, so it's coming again. So even if she missed her first opportunity, she goes, I want to sit, it's 7 seconds, just use it early, but she wants to save it. She wants to hold on to it. She misses her first opportunity, she gets a Dynamo ulted. If she's mashing it here, if she's in the ult and she just starts mashing it, she lives through the second one. She doesn't get stopped, She goes Unstoppable, same thing. She turns around, she kills him. Unfortunately, her team bails her out there. So this is a winning, you know, blue team wins here. Great game from everyone played. Everyone did their best. But just because you win and the situation went well doesn't mean she made the correct decision or made the correct buy and couldn't have stopped that from happening to her. So here's the endgame screen, and all right, what are some takeaways? What things can we see here? Big thing, I'm actually pretty surprised that Hayes is the most objective damage here. I thought Wraith did a great job pushing, but maybe this was towards the end. You know, Hayes gets pretty big. Something I see here is Bebop has the most damage. I didn't really seem to focus on Bebop and what he was doing and his big plays he was making. And he's the ultimate, you know, ultimate laser bomb build. So yeah, he did a lot of damage, but he fought a lot. He was constantly in there fighting over and over and over again. And he's got 9 deaths, and it shows that he has a lot of player damage, but I think a lot of this was wasted. And he really should have been, you know, he's in there taking fights that he doesn't need to be taking, and he's dying, and he's trying to save people. So if I was this Bebop, or, you know, talking to this Bebop player, I'd say, hey, you know, you're taking a lot of fights you don't need to take. And sure, it seems like you have a lot of player damage and you did a great job, but I think that number's inflated by you doing all these random fights that don't need to happen. This Wraith, who I've been praising a lot, has good player damage, about on par with the rest of her team, but she spent, look at this objective damage, she spent so much time split pushing, getting souls, getting farmed. So she wasn't, you know, out there brawling all the time, but the fight she was in, she was so impactful. So this Mo and Krill, great job, great objective damage. Maybe that they realize, okay, I am a little bit behind. I do need to be split pushing. I do need to make stuff happen on the other side. I need to affect the game the way I can. Any player can split push, so might as well be whoever in your team is the farthest behind. You know, he's got a lot of deaths, so it happens. This 7, 300 objective damage. So that's pretty tough. A lot of 7s, you get this stereotype, oh, 7, he just AFK farms. And this 7 did a lot of player damage. He did a great job. But no objective damage is showing me that he's not taking the fights that matter. So you take a fight, you win it, great. But what did you win off of it? If he's fighting under walkers and he's winning fights and doing this damage and then taking a walker, you'd see he'd have the walker, he'd have the objective damage to show for it. So to me, this 7 player is taking a lot of fights that don't lead to anything, whether they're losing fights or they're team deathmatch fights where you're just fighting in the middle of the lane for fun. That's kind of what this shows me. All right, guys, so that was my first replay review on a Deadlock game. I've done these for other games, but let me know what you think. You know, pros, cons, too long, too short. Comment and subscribe. I read all the comments. It's a big help to the channel, and, you know, let me know if you learned anything or have any other questions, and have a good one, guys.